On this day in history, February 19th, 1594, having already been elected to the throne of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in 1587, Sigismund III of the House of Vasa is crowned King of Sweden, having succeeded his father, John III of Sweden, in 1592. Included in the following is an excerpt from the 1944 edition of the Encyclopaedia Britannica, going over the life of Sigismund. Sigismund III, born 1566, died 1632. King of Poland and Sweden, son of John III, King of Sweden, and Catherine Jagiellonica, sister of Sigismund II, King of Poland, thus uniting in his person the royal lines of Vasa and Jagiello. Educated as a Catholic by his mother, he was on the death of Stephen Bathory elected King of Poland, August 19, 1587. Through his efforts of the Polish Chancellor, Jan Zamoyski, and of his own aunt, Anne, Queen Dowager of Poland, Sigismund promised to maintain a fleet in the Baltic to fortify the eastern frontier against the Tartars, and not to visit Sweden without the consent of the Polish Diet. The Articles of Kalmar regulated the future relations between Poland and Sweden, when Sigismund should succeed his father as King of Sweden. The two kingdoms were to be perpetually allied, but each of them was to retain its own laws. Sweden was also to enjoy her religion, subject to such changes as a general council might make. During Sigismund's absence from Sweden, that realm was to be ruled by 7 Swedes, 6 to be elected by the king, and 1 by Duke Charles, his Protestant uncle. Sweden, moreover, was not to be administered from Poland. The Poles first witnessed the secession of Estonia to Poland, but eventually the territorial settlement was postponed, and Sigismund was duly crowned at Krakow on December 27, 1587. From the first, Sigismund was out of sympathy with the majority of his subjects. As a man of education and refinement, he was unintelligible to the Szlacha, who regarded all artists and poets as either mechanics or adventurers. His reserve was called stiffness, and his calm, haughtiness. Even Zamoyski, who had placed him on the throne, complained that the king was possessed by a dumb devil. He lacked, moreover, the tact and bonhomie of the Jagiellos. The first 23 years of the reign are the record of a constant struggle between Zamoyski and the king. In 1592, Sigismund married the Austrian Archduchess Anne, and a reconciliation was patched up between the king and the chancellor to enable the former to secure possession of his Swedish throne vacant by the death of his father, John III. He arrived at Stockholm on September 30th, 1593, and was crowned at Uppsala on February 19th, 1594. After he had consented to the maintenance of the pure evangelical religion in Sweden, on July 14, 1594, he departed for Poland, leaving Duke Charles and the Senate to rule Sweden during his absence. 4 years later, July 1598, Sigismund was forced to fight for his native crown by the usurpation of his uncle, aided by the Protestant party in Sweden. He landed unopposed at Kalmar. After fruitless negotiations, Sigismund advanced with his army, but was defeated by the Duke at Stangbro on September 25th. He never saw Sweden again, but refused to abandon his claims. And this unfortunate abstinency was to involve Poland in a whole series of unprofitable wars with Sweden. In 1602, Sigismund wedded Constantia, the sister of his deceased first wife, an event which strengthened the hands of the Austrian party at court and still further depressed the chancellor. At the Diet of 1605, Sigismund endeavored to substitute a decision by a plurality of votes for a unanimity in the Diet. The opposition of Zamoyski nullified the effect of this salutary reform. His death, however, in the same year, left his more ardent followers without a check. From 1606 to 1610, Poland was in an anarchical condition. On foreign affairs, these disorders had a disastrous effect. Poland was unable to take the opportunity of breaking the power of the Tsars, which the collapse of Muscovy had shaken. At the outbreak of the 30 Years' War, Sigismund prudently leagued with the emperor against the Turks and the Protestants. Sigismund died very suddenly in his 66th year, leaving 2 sons, Vladislaw and John Casimir, who succeeded him in rotation.